It is my great pleasure now to introduce Corey Thomas, CEO and Chairman of the Board of Directors of Rapid7, a leading cybersecurity solutions company. In 2023, Corey was appointed to the National Security Telecommunications Advisory Committee and elected chair of the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston. He is a member of the Council on Foreign Relations, serves on the Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts Board of Directors, and was a founder of the New Commonwealth Racial Equity and Social Justice Fund, a coalition of Massachusetts Black and Brown executives focused on addressing systemic racism and racial inequity in Massachusetts. Corey's tech sector experience in leadership and philanthropy and community building are a shining example for our students of what is possible as an innovator in society. His story is one of global experiences, private industry leadership, public service, and a willingness to challenge the status quo, values that we strive to instill in our students. Please join me in welcoming Corey Thomas to the podium. Corey.
Thank you, Dean Hackney, Provost Madigan, faculty, staff, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. But most importantly, to you, the graduates, congratulations. You have so much to be proud of. I must admit that I had just a little bit of trepidation about speaking with you today as a non-lawyer. But our jobs, our education, and our affiliations, they should not be the limiters of our abilities to relate and to connect to one another. I'm a technologist and an entrepreneur. I'm also a father, a friend, a husband, a citizen, a volunteer. We all are so much more. I could, and you could, choose to define all of our relationships by our affiliations. Some affiliations will bring us closer together, but some of them will push us apart. I asked you then, how can these things that are so vitally important to us, these earned accomplishments and these points of pride, be the very things that can make us so small sometimes, so much less than who we fully are? I am sure that each of you have your own ambitions and hopes, and for that, I'm thrilled. I'm cheering for you. However, I worry that oftentimes we have the wrong interpretation of the value of our achievements. It's not our affiliations that create the platform of our success, but rather our ability to connect, to continue to learn, and to build new relationships and find joy in the small things that fuel not just our personal success, but also the success and well-being of our organizations, our society, and our family groups. Each trait that we hold, and we have so many wonderful traits, is a unique opportunity. Now, sometimes we're thinking about these traits, these affiliations, as a choice to splinter or to connect. Are we the same or are we different? Does something belong in a bucket or someone belong in a bucket of good or evil? The beautiful human ability to connect is so closely related to our destructive tendency to fracture based on differences. It takes time, unfortunately, to build affinity with one another, and only an instant to become bound in hatred. Unfortunately, as we progress through life, we have an all too often tendency to focus ourselves more and more and define ourselves more and more on our affiliations. And by doing that, our world steadier and steadier gets smaller, and our ability to create shared progress diminishes. In my own journey, I can tell you, I was not prepared for this. I was ready for a lot of things. I was ready to face turmoil and obstacles because I had been told that speeches like this, that obstacles would always come my way. And they will, and we have to be ready to fail. It's an essential part of life. However, it wasn't the obstacles that got me. What got me, whether I was winning or whether I was losing, it was those isolated feelings and those moments of loneliness. Those were the things that I was completely unprepared for. And in those moments, I can tell you, I felt despair. But it was also in those moments that my family, my friends, and sometimes even the kindness of strangers made it not just durable to travel that road, but it also reminded me that joy could be found in the journey. Today, you all have so much to be proud of. You're surrounded by your community, your family, and your friends, and your mentors. Yet even still, some of you may feel moments of loneliness. Now, I'm sure if you're partying and having a good time tonight, you won't feel it that much, but it'll happen, and that's okay. Sometimes the largest achievements can also bring the most confusion. While I hope that you can find a moment that's joyful for you, I do have one important request learned along the way. It is so easy to forget each other in the next days. Hold on to this incredibly special and beautiful and magical community that you built today. And make a commitment to at least just one person that you will stay not just passively connected, but deeply connected. Because we're human. And being human is a beautiful thing, but it also means that sometimes we can neglect the very things that are critical to our health and well-being. Those important things, they may seem small, but they connect us and make us who we are. I say this not just for your well-being, because I want you to be happy and joyous and have a great time, but I say this also because this connection, this ability to build new relationships, these abilities to stay together, these are also the things that actually will catalyze your career and your aspirations. You see, I know this firsthand, how easy it is to lose that touch. I, and my wife is here today, and my friends are here today, they will tell you that unfortunately, I sometimes have a habit of becoming a little bit distant. I'm also ambitious. And so I see future technologies, I see cities, I see programs, I see progress everywhere I look, and I'm ready to jump in. But in those periods of struggle, sometimes I distance myself a little bit and a little bit further. And every few years, when I have some spectacular failure, I'm reminded that my tendency to distance limits my connection. It limits my connection to my friends, to my families, to my organizations, to my work, to my nonprofit activities. And that tendency to distance weakens the foundation of all the work that I aspire to do. Here's one of the things that I learned. You all have big aspirations. But if we devalue our connections to one another, then we also abdicate our responsibilities as stewards of the institutions that connect us and make our society work, be it a company, a university, a church, a nonprofit organization, and most especially our government. This is more important than ever because a change is coming. And it is not a theoretical change. It is a change that's happening right here and right now. We can talk about AI. I'm sure you expect me to talk about AI because I'm a technologist. And I can assure you of two things. One, it's overhyped. And two, there are things that we should definitely be scared about. But you all are going to have to be the ones that navigate it. And you're going to have to navigate that in the face of political change, geopolitical change, climate change, change. The question is, we all know that we can't really respond to change on this order of magnitude, on this order of scale, as individuals. We can only adapt and change based on the health and power and quality of our institutions and of our systems. And let's face it, you all know this. Our current institutions, they just are not up to the challenge. While once there was broad and unwavering trust in institutions and systems, today there isn't a single one that we, you, and our broader society look out and say works for all of us. And yes, I get it. Some of them are beyond repair. And yes, attempts to replace them have often failed. And yet we don't have the privilege of being able to live in the world and prosper without strong, healthy institutions. Now, the good news The thing that I'm most thrilled about, it turns out I'm not just excited that you're graduating today. I'm excited because of who you are. Many of you care. I heard all the accolades, I've read, I've researched. You care, and you care deeply, and you want to do big things, and you want to push boundaries and barriers, and you want to drive positive change. We need you to actually do that. And by the way, we need you even when we're frustrated, because lots of you push the boundaries of business and you drive me crazy, but I appreciate you for everything that you do. We need your big heart, and we need your big spirit, and we need your audacious dreams. But here's one of the things that I've learned as we actually pursue audacious goals. It's that nothing that is big in life can be accomplished on a weak foundation. None of the things that were mentioned today, none of the things that we actually care about, can be done on broken institutions or systems that we rely on. And part of the problem is that unfortunately we do not glamorize the messy work of the care, investment, and nurturing of the backbone of our institutions and our systems. And then somehow we're magically shocked when our very rational and very sensible ideas, policies, initiatives, programs, they somehow fail because we haven't cared for the engine that's going to drive them forward. And that's why we need you to not just be advocates and builders and visionaries. I know you can do that well. But we need you to be the gardeners, the fixers, the tuners, and the folks that do the steady and unglamorous work to make our business, government, civic, and nonprofit institutions not just effective, but also trustworthy. Today, more than ever, we need stewards of connection and menders of institutions. We need those who stretch boundaries, expand relationships, negotiate and reconcile contrasting ideas. We need those, and we need you to be deeply invested in building our institutional capacity so that we and you can not just carry the programs and ideas that we create, but we can build something that can carry the programs and ideas that will move our society forward. You are the champions that we need. This is the opportunity that we have together. And I want you to remember one thing. It often gets mixed up. And despite the rhetoric, our systems and our institutions, they are not meant to work against us. They are not meant to operate against us. But they desperately need us to cultivate them, to evolve them, to change them, and to bring them into phase with where we're going. And so while the road may be hard, and I can assure you it's definitely less glorious, when you stop and look around, I hope you see that it's not a lonely one, because we're going to be all working on this together. So I commend you, and I congratulate you, and I thank you so much for the wonderful work you're going to do.